Welcome to Pursuing, folks, this is live. Sorry about that. Welcome to Collaboration Conversations, my LinkedIn live show. I almost welcomed you to my podcast. So, one of the beautiful things about going live is we are live, real, and raw here. And we're all human, so you get to hear some of that humanness as well. And we make mistakes when we're human. So, I am delighted, though, today to have with me another guest co host who I absolutely adore. She has made an impact in my life, and just we connected when we first met. We connected in a way that, sometimes you just meet somebody and it's that instant connection, and you know that this is a connection for life, and it's going to be deep and it's going to be real. And that's the kind of connection I have felt with Beth Karpinski since I first met her. And so, Beth, I am so excited that you accepted the opportunity to be a co host on the show today. It's great to have you here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I absolutely agree that it was kind of love at first sight with
Yeah.
Regina. It was funny because we actually knew each other only virtually and had the chance to meet at a conference, and actually same with Pepper. And it
Yeah.
really was, love at first sight. So thank
Yep.
you so much
Yep.
for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Uh,
Um,
it's a thrill to have you here.
yeah,
So,
excellent.
yes.
So to kind of take where you left off, first of all, I love that this is live, and I love all the imperfect action, right? Because I think it gives us all permission to be able to show each other that it's okay. We move forward without having to be perfect, and that's kind of
Yeah.
been my theme as a business owner. Um, so to tell you a little bit about myself, and Regina, I don't know if you saw that we did lose someone here. We're supposed to have one.
I did.
Okay.
And she's back. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. I
Good, good,
hadn't
good,
noticed
good,
that she
good.
was back.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Amanda, hi. You fell off. I hope you didn't get hurt. Welcome back.
Wind here knocked me
Yeah.
off, but hopefully I'll stay on now.
Yeah, good. Okay, so my name is Beth Karpinski. I am the founder of Create, which is a coaching course, a digital course, soon to be, as well as a book and a journal. So, Create is all about helping women to really create the life of their dreams. And I do that through mindset and manifestation and law of attraction, and really giving people permission to be their authentic self, and really, really, really pursue passionately the things that they love in their life. So that's me. I am going to do a quick introduction of my beautiful co-hosts here, or I guess I should say guests that I have invited. So I kind of had a little bit of a mishmash of people that I knew really, really well to people who I just have not known that long. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with the person that I have known my entire life. She has literally been there since day, my first breath. My sister, one of three sisters, Rachel Lam. So
Favorite. I think you forgot
I
favorite.
forgot to say favorite, and I hope none of my other
Weird.
sisters are listening to this, because I will be getting some nasty texts. So, Rachel, will you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi. Yes, I've known Beth a while. I had to laugh when you were saying, say how you've met or how you know each other. But I have actually two businesses, both that have a lot of collaboration built into them. One, I have a writing and corporate communications public relations business that I started 18 years ago when I was pregnant with my fourth child and realized I needed more flexibility in my life than a traditional job was going to enable me. And so I started that business. So I do freelance writing in the corporate communications realm. And then I also started a podcast in 2020 called The Sisterhood of Success. And you'll kind of hear this from Beth and I. I think both had similar experiences, but our first experience with collaboration really was sisterhood. We are 2 of 4 sisters, and I think a lot of people think of that as being a competitive environment. But for us, we had great role models, and in really finding the strengths in each other and relying on each other and supporting each other in our goals. And I think we both believe that we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't have that kind of support system built in. And so the podcast discusses ways that women can feel supported, accepted, where they have a place that they can belong, they gain confidence to reach their goals and to really grow and kind of bloom where they're planted. So that is the goal of that. And really defining success however it makes sense to you. Success, I think, has sort of this standard, but really success could be in relationships, it could be in health, it could be in professional life. It could also just be an emotional growth. So that is me, the Sisterhood of Success, and Right Image LLC is my corporate communications business.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so next is the person who I know medium length amount of time, and that is Pepper. Pepper and I actually, and Regina, all met at a very similar time. And all through business. And Pepper has just kind of been another instant friend that I have had. She immediately reached out to me, and we immediately started talking, and we immediately took another coaching class together. And so we had the opportunity to not only also meet at a conference where we spent 4 days together. We also spent 8 weeks in a weekly meeting together where we've gotten very, very close. So Pepper, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored, and it's really fun. I love these things because they really do build relationships, right? And open those doors for collaborating to like expand beyond what you even imagined. And it's even more fun when you get to meet people in person. It was so nice to meet you guys. It was kind of like a nice journey, the milestone, I guess, in the journey. But I guess if I'm supposed to tell a little bit about myself, my story, that what brought me here is basically dealing with a lack of self-confidence and self-belief. And I had no idea. I used to blame other people or things for why I wasn't where I was. And it took me years to realize, you always hear it, you're in your own way, but you don't know how. You're like, how am I in my own way? I want this so bad. And I didn't realize the difference in the stumbling blocks, the blind spots that we have, which is like, I didn't realize what was a skill set problem versus a mindset problem, versus just a perspective and proximity. So that's kind of what brought me to my journey, and sort of being an entrepreneur has been a very spiritual path for me. So it's kind of more than just starting a business. It's about building myself up in ways that I didn't imagine. And so that led me to start creating a program called Self-Mastery and then Business Self-Mastery. And it's basically working on the roots, the inner parts of ourselves to be able to manifest the outer. And so what I met Beth is through a program called Positive Intelligence. And what they teach you is about identifying the voices in your head and the different saboteurs. And I recently added that to my program because it's such a beautiful way to articulate what's going on in our inner worlds that is actually stopping us, and you have no idea. They just hide so well. And so that's where I'm at right now. I also like to teach a lot about market dominating positions in business and about creating offers. But really my favorite thing to do is that I do with people is create a space to do the work. A lot of people have issues with what's my target audience and my niche, and I hate that word. And and how do I create my offer? And we don't have a person to springboard off of. So I like creating those containers where, you know, up to 5 of us get together, we share, we kind of brainstorm, give feedback. And that for me is doing the work that it takes to be able to get where we want to go. Because we're in the bottle and we don't see what we don't see. And we always need somebody else to help us give us that perspective. And so that's a big part of the program that I have, is having that container to work through offers, work through your self-beliefs and your self-sabotage, and to work through your audience. And so, yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of essentially where I'm at and what I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Pepper.
That
And
is awesome.
last but absolutely not least, Amanda. Amanda owns She Owns, and this is a CRM that I've come to use. And the reason, Amanda, I don't know very well at all, so I'm actually really, really excited to get to know Amanda a little bit better. But what really prompted me to step out of my comfort zone and actually ask Amanda to join us was that when, first of all, I'm not a technology person at all. And so I knew I needed to have this really awesome technology, and I did research. I knew it could do a bunch of things, but that, you know, being able to do something, but yet actually having the user be able to make it all work are kind of two different things. And so when I first signed up with using the technology that Amanda owns or represents, I had some struggles, but not typical like I see very often. Amanda handled that with such grace. And I mean, when we talk about you know, giving yourself permission to not be perfect, I feel like Amanda was like so good at that. She just took it on, and she was very, I don't know, Amanda, I don't want to get too much into this, but I was really impressed with what she did, and the way she handled that. And furthermore, Amanda, her company, she really supports women business owners. So I'm not going to steal her thunder and tell what the limited amount. I think you're probably the expert, Amanda, so I'm going to let you go ahead and take the reins there.
Yeah, so actually, Beth, when you signed up for She Owns, I was on a cruise and I thought I had all of my automation set up perfectly and ready to go. And that if anybody signed up while I was gone, it was just going to take care of itself. And it did not. And I was so embarrassed and so flustered. But what I have learned over my 17 and a half years of business is nothing ever goes perfectly. And just admit when you messed something up and fix it and do better. So I'm so glad that you stuck around because, I love working with you and I think you're great. So 17 and a half years ago, I started my business because I had 3 small children. My oldest was 3 years old. I had a 2-year-old, and then I had a 6-month-old. And I found myself in $64,000 worth of credit card debt that my husband didn't know about. Still not entirely sure how I got there. But also with the 3 little kids, no way to get a real job because childcare would be so expensive. So I had to get creative, and I started a virtual assistance business. And I did that for 3 or 4 years. But in the meantime, also taught myself how to design websites. I paid the debt off in under 3 years, and everything worked out fine. I wrote a book about it. It's called Mom versus Debt. And you can get it on Amazon. And from there, I went into web design, and over the last several years, it's become more and more evident because I'm in the Midwest that a lot of women here have great ideas and great things that they could be doing, but they have no support. They don't know where to start. They don't have any way to keep moving forward because it's just them trying to push themselves to do it. So to that end, a few years ago, I bought a building here locally that actually used to be a brothel. And I really love that little tidbit about it because I feel like I'm reclaiming that space for women. And I'm still working on it. It's taking forever to get it done, but it's designed to be a co-working space / business incubator for the rural area that I live in. And I want to eventually franchise that out. But then I also realized, like, it's not just here that this is happening. It's like everywhere. This is a big problem everywhere, that women just don't know where to start. And it's easy for them to just give up on their dreams because they get distracted by their kids and their husband and their families and just everything going on in their lives. So I decided to make it an online thing too. So the software is called She Owns. It's built on Go High Level, if you've heard of that, but it's more than Go High Level. I'm there to support you. I'm going to have a team of VAs eventually, but it has a task management system, the whole entire CRM, so you can take care of everything in your business in this one spot, which is also great for me personally because I have ADHD really badly, and it actually helps me get things done every day. So that's where I am, and I have all kinds of things going on. I have the building project. I'm renovating a 1972 RV for a film project that is in the future. I have written a bunch of books, and I have a travel business, and I always have something going on, and all my kids are grown now. So I have all this extra time on my hands to do even more things. So that's me.
Do I hear a serial entrepreneur there?
Oh yeah. I have 3 businesses right now, and probably will have more eventually.
Anybody in the room not a serial entrepreneur?
I am a serial entrepreneur, but a monogamist at it.
Oh.
I only have one business going right now.
I love that, monogamous at it. That is awesome. I'm more like Amanda. I'm not monogamous with it. Too many things going on all the time. A couple of things I wanted to touch base about. Rachel, a few weeks ago, I had my sister on as co-host. I helped her start her business, which is called Sister to Sister Enterprises. So I love what they're doing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, love it. I love it. So she is a copywriter. And
it's like we're twins, which is weird since we're not just no, but I do think that not everyone has the benefit of having those types of sister relationships.
Yeah.
And so I'm so excited to hear that.
And ours is like yours, very supportive, and we've been there for each other always. So yeah. So I loved hearing your story on that. Pepper, I have to say, you were the first person that I saw at the conference. And if I remember correctly, we kind of passed and you turned around and said, Regina. I remember you were the first person that I got to meet at the conference. And again, we'd known each other virtually, but not met in person. That was the most awesome conference, to get to meet everybody in person that I'd been interacting with for so long, especially wonderful people like you folks. Well, let's dive in here. We want to talk for a while here about collaborations. And I've heard some collaborative things going on here in this group. Obviously, Rachel and Beth have been collaborating. Let's just talk about what excites you the most about connecting with someone that you can collaborate with. And feel free to unmute and go ahead, Beth.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, Rachel and I actually did a podcast about this the first time that I was on her podcast show. I'm now what do you call me, Rachel? A guest host, a co-host, something like that. But first I was a guest on her podcast, and we had a whole conversation about failing gracefully. That's what I call it. That's why I love the whole idea of imperfect action, because I grew up very much in a situation where, and Rachel can attest to that, and all of my sisters, and oddly, all of my sisters are entrepreneurs. We all have either owned a business in the past or currently own a business, or both. But we grew up, I think, in a situation that, and we had fantastic parents, so this is not a knock on our parents at all, but we just, perfection and the way that we present and the way that we show up was so ingrained in us. Like, when we were in church, like, we all had to be quiet and, you know what I mean, sit in our seats and not move around and not, and so I feel like that has been kind of like my bane for the majority of my life, it's really kind of held me back from doing the things that I wanted to do, is because I felt like I needed to be perfect. Well, then real life hits, right? And we all fail at something. If you're doing anything outside of your box, you're going to fail at some time, right? If you're
Right.
living the life that you really want to be living in any stretch of the imagination, you're going to fail at some point.
Yeah.
And so collaboration really has come into my life during those points of failure, really, because I find myself getting into this place of trying something new, and it doesn't always go how I want, or sometimes it just isn't what I expected, right? Because sometimes we also need to give ourselves permission to walk away from things that aren't
Yeah.
exactly how we expected them to be, and that's okay.
Definitely.
So my life has kind of been this series, and I've always, always, always had a career where no matter what I'm doing, I predominantly have always worked with women, and I've always been in a situation where they are setting goals and I'm helping them achieve goals. And then
Okay.
in my own life, it's been the times where I failed, figured out those failures, and then kind of turned around and tried to collaborate with people who are going through the same situation, because I might
Mm,
not know everything, but I at least am one step further ahead. And so I can kind of hold your hand as you're going through that hard time. So collaboration for me has been a lot about that, about connecting with people who are one step behind me, and I don't mean that in any way other than a hard time, and I'm
yeah.
just one step further in the
Yeah.
healing process. And so that's been kind of my situation with collaboration.
So kind of what I'm hearing is you're holding their hand, helping them to get to the next step.
Yes, yes. I've worked a lot with single moms in the beginning of my career. Then I really started focusing on women going through divorce and their financial situations and how to really help them through the financial piece. And there is more coming on that, because I'm also kind of expanding that really into this idea of creating the life of your dreams. Um, and then now I really work a lot with business owners, because quite honestly, that is such a huge dream that I think so many women have. And Pepper, to your point, I think that we get in our own way so much. And so that's really what I help people do. Is I've been studying the law of attraction and manifestation, all those kinds of things, for the last 30 years. It's been a part of every single day of my life. It is truly my morning routine and what I work on. And so now I'm kind of authentically sharing that with the world, when I wasn't so brave to do that in the past, because I was getting in my own way. So yes, that is how I have used collaboration. And what I found is the more I surround myself with people who are kind of going through the same thing, or who are in the same situation, or who are either a step behind me or a step ahead of me, right? Because
Right.
I
Right.
need those people to kind of take my hand
Exactly.
and lead my way too,
Yeah.
that I have just been so much more successful in all areas of life because of
Yeah.
that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Rachel.
think, yeah, I think to Beth's point about reaching back and helping people, I think that so there's somebody I follow. His name is Ed Gandia, and he talks about freelancing and building a business that way. And one of the things he talks about in helping somebody learn or get to the next level is that um, you know a fifth grader might feel like they don't have anything to share, but a first grader thinks that that fifth grader is the most brilliant person on earth. And actually, the fifth grader has a lot more to share with the first grader than, say, a high school student or a
Right.
parent or a teacher,
Right.
And so he always says, you're a fifth grader to somebody, like
Yeah.
somebody thinks you
I like
are
that.
like the person who needs, that next step.
Yeah.
And so being an expert sometimes is almost like a hindrance, because you forget all those little steps in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
And so being not all the way there isn't necessarily something that is bad from a collaboration standpoint. The other thing is I think I'm really a teacher at heart. And so when you think about what you're excited about from a collaboration standpoint, it's so fun to see that light turn on, the somebody get to the next step, somebody, and being part of that success for them. It's sort of like parenting. It's like being a sister. It's like being a spouse. I mean, if having a spouse isn't the most collaboration relationship that because you have to pretty much figure it all out and work together and compromise and all those things. But I think the excitement there is that something that Beth alluded to, and that is you're giving to receive as opposed to asking.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-way relationship, and it really strengthens those relationships. It builds your own knowledge base by learning from that person. And it's just a more fun way to live, I mean,
Isn't it though?
yeah. And so in freelancing, I think that it could be considered a competitive environment, right? You're going after clients. I prefer to go after clients in sort of my circle. And so in my network. And so everyone is really a referral, honestly. And so you might feel like, okay, I need to not share who I'm working with, or I need to not share expertise on how to run my business and that kind of thing. And I have found over the years that I can't service every client in the world. That's just not possible. It's not a good goal. It's not a healthy goal. And so I have found that I have areas of strength, and I have met other freelancers along the way who have different areas of strength. And so one of the things that I have done over my career is to refer clients to someone who is better at something. And it builds so much trust in that relationship that they know you're not going to take advantage of a situation or a project, because they know that you have their best interests at heart. And that's another, just building that integrity in your life feels good. It's an exciting process. And so I want to let the other people build, but there's so many. I don't know if I could talk this whole time on what excites me about collaboration, because it's such a nice way to live, I guess.
It is, isn't it? It truly is. And that's one of the things I love about doing this show. I get to meet so many amazing people, and then we get to look at how can we collaborate? How can we make a difference together in the world? And it just thoroughly exciting.
Right. Like the sum of the parts, like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts is what the, the saying
1
goes,
plus
right?
1 equals 11.
Yeah. And so you generally can build something so much better than you imagined, right? When you pull other people into the process.
Right. So. Absolutely. Thank you, Rachel. Amanda, your thoughts?
I just, I'm coming off of a couple of rough years where life just kind of fell apart and got weird for a while. And so I'm like just diving back into the idea of collaboration and networking and things like that. And honestly, the people who were with me through all the mess that collaboration was wonderful. And, I wouldn't have made it through without some of them. And, it is such a valuable thing to connect with other people. And like Rachel said, you can refer people to other people, which builds trust. And it just makes everything better when you're collaborating with other people. And I don't know if you guys do human design or not, but I'm a manifestor in human design. And one of the things I'm supposed to do is inform the people around me when I'm going to do something so they can collaborate with me. And I'm really bad at that because I just want to move forward and do things. So I have to this year is about slowing down and informing the people around me so that I can get collaboration. And actually my horoscope yesterday said something about talking about the things that I'm doing so that I can find more collaborators. And it's just like, apparently this is a theme I need to be focusing on right now.
Evidently. That's awesome. Thank you. Pepper.
I know we've heard this, but being an entrepreneur can be very lonely. And even though I'm grown to learn how to have fun by myself, no matter what, right? And to love having fun by myself, I get excited just by being able to sandbox and having a tea party, or however you want to phrase it, with other people. My husband always says, everybody has a golden nugget idea every day. And I'm an idea junkie. So I just have so much fun talking with other people who are also like ambitious and action driven and idea driven, and just seeing like the little births or the hatchlings that come out of, oh, I can do this and I know this, and have you heard of this, or have you heard of this person? And you're just like, no, and you're writing things down. And you're like, what if we did this? And so for me, it's just what births, what just emerges in the ideas. And also it's about, for me, it's about remembering that you can be bold again. Because when you start collaborating, you get attracted to like-minded people. And sometimes you forget, like Beth said, I'm supposed to fit in this box and I'm supposed to be professional. And then people that are like-minded give you that boost of energy of like, no, I don't, I can do it this way. Sometimes for me, collaboration helps not just ground me, but free me at the same time. Whereas like when I'm playing by myself, I forget because I'm stuck with only what I know and the beliefs that I have. And so I just love being around other people to remind me also that I have more freedom to fly than I remember.
I love that. You made me
That's
think
actually what I wanted to say, Pepper. So good job.
Okay.
I was trying to think of a way to say
she just
that.
made it sound really good, right?
So brilliant. Nice job.
That's how we collaborate, right?
Yeah. So let me ask y'all a question. I mean, we obviously all believe in collaboration. We love it. We have fun with it. We have all these ideas. How do you qualify who's a good person to collaborate with? Because not everybody is. And you're going to be bombarded with people who may not be a good fit for you to collaborate with. How do you qualify people? Rachel, I can see you're thinking.
I'm a bad person to ask this, I think, because I am such an optimist and idealist, and everybody is good until they prove
otherwise. Yeah.
And so to me, everyone is a good person to collaborate with. And I've been burned a few times because of that, but that doesn't make it wrong. You learn something from
what have you learned from
experience.
those situations? What have you learned?
Yeah, I think one is to put systems in place. I have from a financial standpoint, I'm very trusting, and I bill afterwards. I don't get money up front. I do, there's a lot of things like that I think I like to live life in a trusting way, I guess.
Right.
And I will say financially, a couple of times I've gotten burned on payments or on the way that things like that have gone. And it has taught me, I now have a contract in place. I now have, it sort of forced me to be a grown-up in the way that I function. Yeah. And yet I will say that I have maintained a little bit of that naivete. And I think that it is just the person that I am and the way that I want to be. And I don't want to give up all of that to be cynical. But I will say it has sort of taught me to be more systematic in how I do things and have sort of things in place there.
Which is not a bad thing, right?
Not a bad thing.
It's good for your business to be systematic.
Absolutely. I also will say, on the other side of things, that because I have been very trusting, I think it builds trust on the other side as well. And so I think that what I'm trying to say is, even I laugh because I'm not great at qualifying people that way. However, I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way to do it. And I don't think that by not qualifying people or sort of going in blindly and boldly, as Pepper said, and with an open heart, it has also created some good situations. So I'm curious to hear how other people qualify.
Yeah, so am I. But I appreciate that honesty.
I can't wait to learn how I'm supposed to do this. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Rachel. How much of your gut is involved in qualifying?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
The funny thing is we have a joke in my family that my husband has this like sixth sense about people. And every single time he's been like, I'm not sure you should go down that road. And I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. He has been right.
He's
and
been
he
right. So
doesn't
who's
say
got
it
the gut?
very often. Yeah, he doesn't say it very often. So it's not like he's cynical and doesn't trust everyone.
Right.
It's
Right.
just he has this ability, and he really
Reads
stays
people
out
a little better, maybe.
of those things. And so he just has a read on people. I don't know what it is. It's very strange. So you just all need that. You need that guy.
There you go. There you go.
That's my advice. Talk to him.
On a side note, we've actually proclaimed her husband as an honorary sister
Yes, he is an
because
honorary
he is.
Always got some gifts.
Because
Yeah.
he does, he definitely brings a lot to all of our tables.
Yeah.
Oh, Regina, I just want to kind of slip in here because you said you asked the question, how much of it is on your gut? And
Yeah.
that was going to be exactly what I was going to say is you know, oddly, the C part of create stands for clarify or clarity. And
There you go.
in my opinion, I think that really tuning into your gut and really tuning into how you feel about things, and then being able to kind of get clear on, to get clear
Right.
on what your gut is telling you is really the best way to go about that. So in collaboration, when I feel like I'm not in an area, or I'm not gifted in an area that I need to be, i.e., why Amanda came into my life. If I just don't know much about it, or I don't know much about the process, I get really clear about what's making me feel insecure about that, because that's okay. We all, like somebody said it here, we all have different gifts, right?
Yep.
But getting really clear about what I want in that person who I collaborate with. And then also, how does the person make me feel? Like, I think I don't know, Rachel, if I was talking to you or somebody else, Regina, who knows you, but I said something to the point of, I can't totally explain it, but every time I'm around Regina, I just feel like I'm getting hugged. And so that is kind of one of the, like, how do you actually feel when you're interacting with a person? And
Yeah.
I would strongly suggest, do not ignore what those feelings are, but then become really clear about, what attributes do you want that person to be able to have? Do they listen? All of those things.
Yeah.
What's important for them to fill the need that you need them to in a collaboration?
Right.
But ultimately, then, what is your gut actually telling you about the way that person makes you feel?
Yeah. Very good. I agree. Anybody else? Pepper, Amanda, comments on that?
I actually love that you're talking about this stuff, because I know for a lot of us, right, a lot of people tell us to follow the energy. And when it comes to gut and when it comes to energy, what I had to learn, right, and I'm still learning every day, is paying attention to the why I feel that way. Because I've also been overly excited about things, or had a gut feeling and it turned out to be a little different. I'm always like, how was I wrong? Or how could I get it better this time?
Right.
And that's why I love learning, and awareness is so key, right? Because I think when you can have enough awareness to ask yourself, why do I not like this person? Or why am I resisting? Or why am I attracted to this person, with the energy? What am I seeking out of this? That's how you really, I think, start to learn how to follow your gut, because it forces you to dig deep into your shadow self of, like, what are my saboteurs, or what am I expecting out of this relationship? Or what am I looking for them to make me feel more credible? Or am I just wanting them for this? Or am I just lonely? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of different reasons for why we're, like, repelled or attracted to certain people. And for me with the collaborations, it's, I think, because I'm a people pleaser, right? So I don't like conflict or making people feel bad. And so for me with the collaborations, it's kind of like, what is my intention?
Yeah.
What do I really want out of this? And what is my mindset? Can I still learn, even though they might rub me the wrong way? Or why do I even want to approach this? And I just think being willing to ask questions about how you feel and about where your energy is, holds some really key components to making the decision on whether or not you want to proceed with collaborating with somebody or not.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes your gut can fool you, but then it's, it's more like, is it my gut? Or is it my beliefs? Is it my stories? Is it my background?
Right.
So,
and sometimes personality can be a huge issue in whether or not that collaboration is successful. And so understanding more about personalities and your personality and their personality, because we if there is a personality conflict, we tend to push it away, right? We tend to like, no, I don't think I'm going to work with this person.
yeah, and I
right?
think boundaries is important. Like making
Boundaries are
sure
very
ahead of time, you're like, what are my boundaries? And am I going to give myself permission to back out of this? Or what do I need to tell them beforehand so that I
Right.
don't get stuck in a situation I've been before?
Yeah. One of the things, and then we'll come to you in just a second, Amanda, but one of the things, I had a staffing firm for 12 and a half years. And one of the tools that we used was a personality profile that was over 90% predictive of success on the job. But it made such a difference in being able to work with people who had a different personality. When you understand where they're coming from and you understand how you approach things and you understand what they need in order to be receptive to, or to, do what you need them to do, it just made such a huge difference. And so, I strongly encourage people to explore that as well, the personality piece, because it could be somebody that you would initially say, no, I can't work with this person. But if you understood just how they're different, how they perceive things different, how they communicate differently, it can make all the difference in creating a wonderful collaboration. So,
Regina, what was that profile called?
it is called the Rembrandt Portrait. And I'd be happy to introduce you to Dr. Santo, the developer of it, if you'd like. You could have a conversation with him. They do both a verbal and a written report on that person, and they assess 14 innate personality characteristics. And then they look at the intercombination of those 14 scales and how that impacts. And so it was just powerful. We used it. Of course, I never hired anybody for myself without it, but also we used it for all of our clients, and we would profile the supervisors within the client. Who's this person they're going to be working for? Who's this person we're looking at placing with them? Can they work together? And then be able to provide them a report that said, this is this person has the skill sets that you need, but here's where the issues are going to come because of who they are. And we're all on the first 90 days of the job, we are all our best, right? And so we would say 90 days down the road, this is what you're going to see. And invariably we would have employers come back to us saying, you were right. We see it now. Amanda, we have time for you to respond to this, and then we are out of time, ladies. So Amanda,
right.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
On
I'm a gut girl. Like it's
like
always
all of us.
gut. Sometimes I ignore the gut because I like the person.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I should have just listened to myself, because I'm never wrong about, not if a person's a bad person or not, but just like if we're not going to jive working together. I can just see the red flags coming. And sometimes I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. We've known each other forever. We're friends. And then we're not friends anymore after that. Yeah. So I just usually go with my gut.
I'm a big gal on the gut myself. I can totally relate to that. Well, ladies, this has been a pleasure visiting with all of you, but we're going to enter our wrap-up round now, and I'm going to turn that over to Miss Beth, who's going to call on each person for their final thoughts on collaboration and their contact information. And while she's doing that, I'm going to post your contact information in the public comments section. Okay. So Beth, I turn it over to you.
Excellent. Well, I'll just go ahead and quickly start. My final thoughts are, how did this hour go so fast? That is my final thought. It went so fast, and I wish I could, have another one with you all. So that's my final thought. My contact information, best way to get a hold of me at this point is on my Facebook page, which is Create Business Coaching and Consulting, Beth Karpinski, or my LinkedIn, just Beth Karpinski. my website is in transition right now. We're kind of in the process of revamping that, so you certainly can go to createbcc.com, but just know that there are new and exciting things coming around the corner there. So you're also always willing to email me at support@createbcc.com. Yeah, that's neat. So let's go ahead and Rachel, what are the best ways? What are your final thoughts and what are the best ways to contact you?
I think my final thoughts are kind of a response to what Amanda and Pepper and you were saying, Beth, in that I think expectations play a big role in collaboration and honestly in relationships of all kinds. Because if you have big expectations and the other person doesn't have the same expectations of how that's going to work together, it's probably more important than personality jive in some, well, I mean, they probably inform each other, but um I think setting those expectations early with the other person, and then also going into a collaboration, because I don't think we talked about this enough. We talked a lot about like what we want to get out of it and having a clarity about what that relationship is going to look like. But I think going into it with this attitude of how can I help them, and
Yeah.
not worrying as much about what I'm going to get out of it, because it always comes around. It literally always comes around. And so going into this, I know, Beth, when you started your business recently, you were explaining something, and one of our other sisters, Jody, literally the first thing out of her mouth was, well, what can I do to help? And I thought, oh, this is why I love my sisters, because like she didn't ask questions to try and understand it better. She said, what's my role? How can I help you? And I think that going into a collaboration with that is probably the attitude that will help define things, will help you get a gut feeling, will help you qualify people, will help you get excited about it, and will help you come away with the feelings that you want to out of it. So that's my takeaway. My connections, I do want to just mention, I am going to be launching some coaching collaborations, kind of conversations, and giving women the opportunity to sort of experience sisterhood if they don't have that in their lives. So if you want more information about that, you can either go to the website, which is thesisterhoodofsuccess.com. Like Beth, very much in transition. We're adding a lot of things all the time. So if you don't see what you're looking for there, feel free to reach out or drop me a line from that. And also the Facebook page, which is also the for some reason is very important. So the Sisterhood of Success. And then if people want to collaborate, feel free to just send me an email. My email is rachel.lom@writeimage, and it's WRITE image LLC.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. All right, Pepper, what are your final thoughts and contact information? Best way for people to reach out to you?
Yes, yes, I like what Rachel said. Really, when you're in collaborating, I've always learned or been taught to have your inner child connect with their inner child. And it's like we're all at a root level wanting the same things, have the same insecurities. And if you could like dial down the egos and just kind of be in that play and that receptive and how can I help, that always helps. Because you're not expecting anything and you're just kind of there to explore and be curious. And I think that's really important, is to stay in that curious explorer mode, because then you can't really get disappointed if you're really just an observer at that point. And I think that helps a lot. And like both of you, I'm in that transition. My old site is kind of getting taken down and I'm getting a new one rebuilt. But the best way to reach me is just on LinkedIn, Pepper Cox.
Awesome. I love that, Pepper. My inner child is playing with your inner child. I love that. That's fantastic.
I've not heard that before. I love that.
I have not either. I'm totally stealing that.
Yeah, totally.
All right, Amanda, what about you? Any final thoughts from you?
First of all, thank you, Beth, for inviting me. This was amazing, and I really loved it. I love meeting all of you. I'm just, this has made me realize how much I am craving more collaboration in my life. So I'm always open to anything that people come up with, because, I'm always doing crazy things, and I love doing crazy things with other people. So if you ever want to collaborate, you can hit me up. My main website is sheowns.org. And if you want to see all the other junk I have going on, you can go to amandakrill.com. It has everything there. And I'm on LinkedIn as Amanda Krill. If you want to Google Amanda Krill, I'm the whole first page, even though there are a couple of other ones around. I just thank you so much for inviting me. This was really great.
Yes, your horoscope was fantastic. And if you believe in manifestation and the law of attraction at all, those are not coincidences, right?
And I do. And I know that they are not. So I'm paying attention.
Yeah, awesome. Regina, any final thoughts from you or anything that you want to share?
I love doing this and getting to meet so many folks and to hear how you're collaborating in the world. And Rachel, I think you said it first about, it's about the giving, right? It's about how can we help others, So this show is about how can we give you a stage and a microphone, right? How can we help you to find more of your audience and to get in front of your audience? And I absolutely love doing it and meeting everyone. Beth, thank you so much for agreeing to be co-host and for inviting these lovely ladies. And thank you all for the great work that you're doing in the world. I really do appreciate everything that you're doing. So thank you. And yeah, Beth, go ahead.
No, I was just going to echo that. I am pretty lucky that I use my gut level, but I have some pretty awesome people in my life. So apparently whatever I'm doing it right.
That's working.
It's working.
So thank you all for being here, and thank you to all of our viewers. Come back and see us again on Collaboration Conversations. We'd love to have you join us. And if you'd be interested in being a panelist or a guest co-host, reach out to me at regina@bridgeportstrategy.com or find me on LinkedIn, Regina Partain Bergman. And we'll see you next time on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.